retailers are coming up against what is essentially the most important part of the year for them in terms of the holiday end of year rush. And Nordstrom is no different. It's announced that it's on a hiring spree to hire 28,000 employees so that it can, capitalize on the holiday rush. But that comes in against the backdrop of what is one of the most difficult hiring markets or labor shortages, that we've seen in a long time. In August, 4.3 million workers quit their jobs. 500,000 healthcare workers quit their jobs in August. The restaurant industry is seeing people quit at twice the rate of the national average. And so against that backdrop and knowing how important the seasonal kind of retail worker is for a company like Nordstrom, it's important, I think, to highlight a few different areas that showcase why an employer brand is important and why a forward-looking investment in an employer brand is absolutely crucial, so that when you have these holiday spurts or when demand for workers goes up, that you have the structures in place that make it so that you're not hurting as you come to the end of the year. Disruption is an opportunity for innovation, and this really is a great time for organizations to make an investment in their recruitment marketing tactics against a solid employer brand, and to differentiate. Nordstrom has a great advantage in that it has such strong brand codes already attached to it. So if you think across the landscape of retail chains and things that are going to be in this pinch for seasonal workers at the end of the year, I'd position Nordstrom up there in terms of its ability to attract workers because of the industry sexiness. I mean, the store itself is kind of a cool place to work, when you compare it to maybe others in a mall or just across the retail landscape. But employer brands, or at least the best employer brands, are always an extension of your competitive advantage. And Nordstrom has that competitive advantage of being superb on the customer service side. At least it's made a name for itself in that arena. And so it's just a matter of switching the attention, or at least the focus of that competitive advantage towards an employee. And it looks like Nordstrom is going to be offering competitive sign-on bonus and all these things to entice workers. There's an incentive payment of $650 as well to lure people to Nordstrom Rack. But I don't think that's going to be enough in this environment, with basically everybody offering an incentive bonus at the moment to come on board. And this is where you can see how an investment over time versus an investment now, for example, or panic investment in an employer brand pays dividends. A great employer brand brings down your cost to hire. It brings down your time as well, your time to hire, your time to fill, and it makes it so that these incentives, they're important. They're kind of great tactics for the time being, but if you're honest about kind of where everybody is competing right now, you've got the Amazons, you've got all these companies who are able to really bump up incentive packages and benefits plans and perks because of the strength of their balance sheet. Who as Nordstrom are you competing with to grab seasonal workers? Well, I think we're all drawing from the same bucket at this point. So there's two kind of very important aspects or lessons to learn when you see a headline like this, and when you see the crunch that is the seasonal kind of hiring market right now, and that's organizations need to be very honest about who they're competing with, because that then guides the incentives that you put in place. For example, my thinking here is that a $650 purchasing benefit and then a $2,500 sign-on bonus is probably not going to be enough to shake the tree of workers who are going to come and work for Nordstrom, despite all the positive brand codes that they've developed over time. So it's an honesty around who you're competing with, and really making sure that you're differentiating from at whatever level you want to differentiate at, and then also have you made the forward-looking investments in employer brand and the recruitment marketing tactics over time, such that your brand is strong enough to ensure that your top line tactics, which is sales are driven for retail. These sales are driven a lot by the end of the year rush. You're not relying on something external like demand or the way the labor force or the labor markets are working to make sure that your business is still sustainable. You've got to be able to keep a pipeline strong throughout an entire year, and you only do that by having the strongest employer brand in your industry, for one, but as strong an employer brand as you can possibly make across the entire economy, because only then can you weather storms like this the way that you can see the big organizations with the big balance sheets have done as you kind of go into the end of the year.